Hello, my stamping friends. It's Diane Evans with stampinwithdiane.com. I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the interior of British Columbia. So if this is your first time joining me on YouTube, make sure that you do subscribe, hit the bell below, and you'll get notified immediately as soon as I upload a new video. Now, I do post quite frequently to my YouTube Live. I also post quite a few videos themselves. So I do appreciate you coming on here and joining me. So today what we're going to do is we are making, and it's something I'd promised back in January, we're making an impossible card using the New Horizon Designer Series paper. But the thing that's a little bit different from the one I did before, this is going to show you how to use directional paper. And once you'll see this, you'll start to understand. So like I say, back in January, I had done a card that was an impossible card, but I had done it where it wasn't directional paper. But I want to show you today how to make this particular card. Let me just move this out of the way. And it's going to look like it's a complete flowing card. And it's just a tiny bit different cutting than my impossible card that I showed back in January. I think it was on January the 12th that I had actually done this. So we're going to be using the beautiful On the Horizon stamp set. We're not using any of the dies, but remember when you buy these two together that you do save 10% as a bundle. We're going to be using this paper, and this paper really is the showstopper. It's amazing paper. You get 48 sheets, and there's so many different, there's 12 different designs, double-sided. No, you get 4 each of the 12 designs, and there's 6x6 paper. So this kind of shows you a way that you can do this. Like I say, beautiful paper. Now I chose this particular design because I liked how it was flowing and everything else. Not that you can actually get it so that it's flowing in a picture like this, but by doing this card here, I got to show a continuous design. Now, the big thing with the impossible card was because you're cutting this totally different, you would think that this would just butt up together, but it doesn't. So I'm going to show you how we're going to get this so it looks continuous. So you are going to need 2 pieces of this, and there's just some simple cutting that goes along with it. To make an impossible card, I have this template, and I will share this template, but it's just a piece of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece. And I'll just keep bringing this back in and showing you how it works. So all you're going to do is on this template, it shows you that what you're going to do is you are going to score this at 2 1/8. So we're just going to go here. I'm going to bring up the score thing, and we're scoring along the short side at 2 1/8. So basically we're putting it in half, right? So now what I want to do is I want to cut this at 2 3/4, which is the halfway mark of the 5 1/2. So I'm just going to go 2 3/4. We're just going to cut up from there. And then on this bottom part down here, we are going to cut at 1 inch on the lower part. So we're just going to take this, layer this up to the 2 1/8, and then we're just going to cut down. And then I'm going to take this and move this over to the 4 1/2 inch line, and we're going to cut about 1 inch. We know it's 1 inch from this side, but we're going to cut 1 inch, and we're going to cut up to the 2 1/8 inch line, or to that score line that's there. So what you end up having is something that looks like this. And this is where the impossible part comes in with this particular card. But the other part that's going to be really important to do is the cutting on this designer series paper. Now, like I say, you're going to need 2 pieces if you're wanting to have this particular flow that I've got. The flow, I've got everything all sort of matching up. So I'll show you how that gets done. So I've taken this one piece, and this, we're going to get our 2 little pieces on here. And this is the trick to the directional paper. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to cut off on this side up here 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to line that up, and we're just going to cut that off, because what we want is we want it to be, we want to include this top part. And then this piece here, these pieces here go to 4 inches. So I'm going to go down here to 4 inches. And basically, I could cut certain parts off of this, but you know what? Just for the ease of this video, I'm just going to go ahead, line this up at the 4-inch mark, because the 4 inch is going to be half of, you know, it's 1/8 of an inch in. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that part off. And then I'm going to, while I'm doing this, I'm just going to turn this around, and I am going to, we'll worry about that piece in a bit. So now what I need is I need 2 pieces that are 2 inches by, and just let me double check, because we're going in here, and these are going to be 2.5 inches by 4 inches. So I'm just going to go there. I'm going to cut a piece that's 2.5 inches there. And then I'm going to, there's my 2.5 inch piece there. And then I'm going to go over to this side here, and I'm going to cut 2.5 inches off that side. And this is what's going, whoops. Okay, we've got this like this. This is going to go on this side of the paper, and then we're going to want the continuation on this side of the paper. So the way that I had to do that is I went and I cut 2.5 inches off on this side. So I've got an even 2.5 inches on both sides of that paper. So we're just going to cut that at 2.5 inches. So now I've cut that part off. And like I say, when I put this on here, this is going to be that continuance, right? So now, in order to make this so that I could take these parts here and I could use as a template, but this is how I figured was the easiest way to go ahead and cut this. So I'm going to cut where I have this piece. I'm going to cut down there, down to 2 inches and across, but I want to cut this down where it's 2 inches. So what you do is you take your piece like this and turn it this way. I will show you another way in just a second. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up both pieces together, and I'm going to line it up at 3/4 of an inch. I'm coming down to my 2 inch mark. I'm cutting up, and then what I want to do is line this up at the 2 inches again, and I am going to just cut this off just like that. So this is going to give me my 2 pieces, and that's, I just need to do a bit of a snip to get that up to the line. Now, what you're going to see now is when I bring this up here, that piece is going to go there. And when we fold this a certain way, this piece is going to go there. All right. So that, like I say, is really important that we get that part lined up. Now, the other way that you could do this is you could do a template with this. You could go onto your piece here, and you could put light pencil lines and cut around there. But see, this is going to be just like that is how that works. Okay. Now, I've got those 2 pieces cut. Now, I need to come in on this other piece here, and I'm going to do what I did on that as well. We're going to line this up at 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to cut that. And now what I want to do is I want to cut this piece out here. So I know that it starts at 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to line that up at 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to cut down to 2 inches, because this piece here is 2 inches down to here. No, it's 1 7/8. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to cut from 1 7/8 inches. I'm going to cut from 3/4 of an inch to 1 7/8 inches. I'm going to line this up here at, you know what, I could do this a lot easier. Let me just go and cut this straight across at 1 7/8. That would be the easiest way to do it. We cut away that 3/4 of an inch. And now what I want is I want this piece, and this piece happens to be 3 1/4. So I'm going to measure over to 3 1/4, and I am going to cut that. I know that seemed like we were doing that kind of blinded, but this piece here is going to hit right in there, in that piece there. And we have another piece of basic white that is the same measurement, and it's going to go on the back side. Now this is where the impossible card comes in. And I know with getting you to do that measurement, you're going to see in just a sec how this actually starts to line up. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold on this crease line that was folded. And let's just go and use our bone folder. But this, like I say, if you're doing directional paper, it's so important that you do it this particular way. So I have this like this. And now this piece is going to go on here. This piece is going up here. And see how we've got that continuance, right? This is going to go right up to the crease line. And this is just going to go here. And then this is going right down to this crease line here. And see how we now have that continuance, and it's all the same way with the paper. By cutting it that way, like I say, what you're doing is you are getting it to, when it's directional paper. If it's non-directional paper, what you could have done was just put your two pieces together, go over 3/4 of an inch, measure down to 1 7. What is this? 1 7/8. Yeah, measure down 1 7/8 on both sides, and then it's easy. But because we're doing directional paper, it's so important that we cut that particular way. So let's go ahead and continue to put this card together. I'm just coming in with my glue, and I'm just going to put this on here. Now, the other key to this whole particular thing is to put this piece right up against this line right there, the fold line up on this part here. So I'm just going to go in there, bring it up, and make sure I've got all my even spaces all the way around, like I do there. And then this piece is going to come right down here and go right to that fold line as well. If you have any questions on this, I will have the measurements and everything put onto my blog post. And the blog post that it's going live or will be going on is the Creativity Abounds blog post on February the 16th. Okay, so that's keeping the impossible card. Now we're going to go ahead and put this right on here and see how it just sort of flows in there. But like I say, the other way that you can do it is you can make these templates and then just put them down on the card and measure them out. But there it is there. Now I have this piece here. And what I want to do is I want to come in and I'm going to use some of the stamps. So I'm just going to use this part on the back, and I'm going to come in with my Evening Evergreen. And I'm just going to stamp up this grass. And I'm just going to put this down, just down a bit, because I know that the grass doesn't start. There we go, just like that. And that piece is going to go onto the back here. It's really not a lot of stamping on this particular card. go ahead and put that right down here. Whoops. And now what you can do is you need a piece of evening evergreen. Goodness. So you need a piece of evening evergreen. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of have it like it's going to be, let's see, this one happens to be 3/4 of an inch. So I'll just cut off 3/4 of an inch. And it'll be 3/4 of an inch by 5.5. And then what we need to do is we're going to come in with that designer series paper at the bottom. And we want to decide where we want to have this come in. So this was 3/4. I'm actually going to do it maybe 5/8 of an inch where it's a bit less. And then I'm going to cut off. This is 5.5. So I'm just going to cut off 1/8 of an inch off this side. So then this piece here is going to get layered onto here. And this is going to be basically our stopper where it's going to stop it from moving anyway. Now we could put this onto the front like this, or we could put it onto the back. I choose to put it onto the front because it kind of ties in with the rest of the card. So let's just see what part that goes. This one uses a bit more brain power because, like I say, you are using you're using directional paper. There we go. And why not? And let's go ahead and put this stamp set, this stamp that says thinking of you. Let's go ahead and we'll just put that with the evening evergreen. I'm just going to put that right about here. And then this part is just going to go onto there. So I'll just come in with my glue, just a bit here and a bit here. And then I'm just putting that on there like so. There we go. And then, of course, we could embellish this. And probably the best way to embellish this particular card, you know what we could have done too? And I think I'm going to do that. I didn't do that on my other card. But I'm going to come in with my evening evergreen. And I'm going to stamp these birds on there. So I'm just going to have, you know, I don't want the birds to go. Well, I guess they could go. Let's just put some birds right about there. All right. And then we have these fantastic embellishments, which are the pebbles that go along with the suite. I'm going to come in with my Take Your Pick tool. And I think I'll use the darker gray ones. So let's just go and put a pebble there. And a different shaped pebble maybe down here. And then use a pebble and put it right about there. So there's your card. It's an impossible card that basically goes in one direction, but gives us the continual line of this particular card. And I really like how it kind of turned out. It's totally different and gives you the pop-up. Now, if you wanted to, you could put white on, basic white on the back, so you've got more writing. But I find that this would say enough. I'm here for you or whatever. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you like that, give me the thumbs up, share my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my video. And if you live in Canada and do not have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. I have a pretty generous reward program. Plus, I also give away tutorials each and every month. So I hope that you enjoyed that. And if you do have any questions, I'm going to put the link to the other Impossible card so that you can see that how it's easier to do it with non-directional paper, but it's more than possible to do with directional paper. So have a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Bye for now.